Welcome to another episode of the Starter Girls Podcast with your host, Jennifer Loading.
And Brianna Drelis. And together we are the Starter Girls.
Where extraordinary decisions produce extraordinary results. These are our friends, these are your friends, and they are living the extraordinary. Today's episode is brought to you by Walt Mills Photographer of Glad Models Agency. If you are here in the Dallas or surrounding area and looking for some photography work, check out Walt Mills. You can learn more about him and his work at photosbywalt.com. We also want to give a shout out to our friends at Studio Dallas. The Studio Dallas is the best kept secret in the Dallas podcasting world. If you are looking for a studio with top-notch technology, video, audio, and recording capabilities, as well as a production team to help things go smoothly, then Studio Dallas is the place to be. If you'd like more information on that, reach out to us at startergirls@gmail.com.
And be sure to head over to our website at startergirls.com, where you can pick up your very own printable so that we can help you up-level your decision-making skills. Ultimately, we just want to keep in touch, and we want to support you in your business and career and life outside of this podcast as well. So head over to startergirls.com and pick that up today.
We're ready to get started.
Yes.
I'm like looking at the camera and I'm like, we're like Twinkies today with our black on. Not even planned, but we like got it going today.
Totally.
So, all right, today is a great day to be brave. You might as well start now. You have the power to change your circumstances any day you decide. Let today be that day. Rise up, be amazing, be you, do you. All right, my friends, I am super excited to welcome our guest to the show today. You guys are going to absolutely love her, love her. Julianne Nagle, a successful independent business consultant, built her business to the top of a global company. Also an avid horsewoman, Julianne experienced an equestrian accident that left her in the hospital for months, followed by care facilities. Doctors prepared her family and Julianne to expect a different life than she experienced before. Not one to accept mediocrity, Julianne committed to recreating her health, wealth, and mindset to build a better body. You guys are going to just go, we love this story. 6 years after her accident, Julianne teaches the importance of mindset and fueling your body and mind for optimum performance. She teaches through seminars, workshops, and public speaking that you are the determining factor of your success, and fuel matters. A pioneer in plant-based food as a tool for the health realm, Julianne dreamed, designed, and developed Utah's first 100% plant-based, non-GMO, gluten-free, reach and teach, delicious food truck. And guess who the chef is? Julianne. How awesome is that? She believes in teaching and leading by example, not just intention. Julianne's goal is to captive listeners to choose and live their own best life with healthy choices and intentional fueling. So welcome to the Starter Girls Show, Julianne. We are so happy and excited to have you here today.
Well, I'm excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Awesome. We're ready to kick this off,
Absolutely.
I think. So I think what we want to know, because I was looking at your bio and I had sent this to Brianna beforehand so she could kind of get an idea who you are. You've had just so many, your story is just, you and I shared off of this podcast is just incredible. And you've also had so much great success. So I want to kind of start off, I guess, with this show, just really talking about how you got to where you are today, this whole invention, creation, this food truck that you're doing. Tell us a little bit about how that came about for you.
Well, the food truck came about because of what had happened to me. I also had multiple sclerosis for over 23 years now, and I was diagnosed in the mid-90s with multiple sclerosis. And so that was a very, very huge battle for me. And you're given a medication that really doesn't do much other than try to slow down the exacerbations, which means the attacks on your neurological system and your nerves. So I actually went to China with my amazing company that took me on a trip there. And I went to the oldest pharmacy in the world. I'm a history nut and love to learn. So I went there and saw a professor, which is equivalent to a doctor here. And they didn't ask me anything that was like what was wrong, what did I feel, what were my symptoms. He just did an ancient thing called pulsology, which listens to your body through your vessels as your blood pumps through there. And when he was done, he would ask his nurse, because they didn't speak English, she did, and I had a translator with me, and they asked me, does this happen to you? Does this happen to you? And every single time he asked me, he was 100% spot on. So when he was done, he told me that my kidneys were shutting down and it was very serious, but if I would take these herbs and did it for 6 months, that I would be back to normal. And then he asked me what Western medicine said I had. I said multiple sclerosis. He kind of shook his head and got a little sheepish grin and said, no. He said, what happens with Western medicine is that they actually take all of your symptoms and then they put them in a box. And they put them in a box as to what is your symptoms most generally line up with. And it lined up with MS. And so he said, but that's they don't understand the causation. And he said, but if you'll take these herbs. So I did. I went home, took the herbs for the 6 months. I felt amazing after about a month and a half. But the other part of that story is I also hired a guide to take me to all the places in the back country, and we went to hike. And he, at 23 years of age, could tell me what every herb was for, what food was used for to help your body become as strong as you can possibly get it to be, based on not medicine, but medicine as food and food as your medicine. And so he said to me that we have a saying in China that your health is worth more than gold. Well, I was intrigued by that because I hadn't been healthy for a very long time. So I listened to everything he said. I said, I want you to teach me. He took me around, showed me what they ate, why they ate it. And the big thing was the why they ate it. They ate everything with intention. They knew that every single thing they ate had a value for their body. So I was a great student over there, came home, continued to be a great student, and learned everything that I could. And after I took those herbs, after those 6 months were over, I changed the way I ate. And I haven't taken MS medicine since I was over in China because it was needed to be refrigerated. I couldn't take it to the back country, so I had to take it to the hospital in Beijing and leave it there. So I had not taken any MS medicine for those 6 months. And I felt amazing. Well, after my 6 months was over, I went on a horse adventure that you talked about, and my 1,200-pound horse crushed me 3 times. He fell over backwards on me, crushed me once, got up, and crushed me 2 more times because we were on a hill, and he just couldn't hold his weight on that hill. And when I got to the hospital there, well, actually in the ambulance, the search and rescue guy said to me that he said, we need your family's information because I don't know that you're going to make it there. I just don't know. You have no ID on you, so we have no idea how to get a hold of anyone. And I said, well, you know what? You don't know me, and I'm going to make it. And so they got me there. A trauma 1 ICU ER doctor told me the same thing and told my assistant that it wasn't going to be a great outcome. And she said, well, you don't know her very well. And so I said, I honestly, other than being broken to pieces, which I was from stem to stern, I was bleeding out on the hill. That was the one thing that was the worst part, was I was bleeding to death because it had ruptured my bladder. My bones had gone through there. So when I was in the hospital, I wouldn't eat the hospital food. My assistant brought in my food that I ate, my shakes, all the good stuff that I had learned about. And I really just knew your body is a miraculous mechanism. And if we fuel it right, it will run right. And it is designed to heal. It is totally designed to heal. And so I basically ate my way into MS and I ate my way out. And then I know that the foods that I ate and the herbs that I took assisted in my healing. I had amazing surgeons that put this Humpty Dumpty back together again because I was in lots of pieces and parts. My legs, I couldn't move them on the hill. They actually were gone from my body because my pelvis was so crushed. And so it took a lot of great doctors, great physical therapists, and a lot of work on my part. But I do know that my body was so healthy because of the fuel that I had been giving it. So I became so inspired by that I wanted to share that with everybody because, we have in the United States, we have so many top killers that are taking lives way too soon and in horrible, horrible ways that we don't need to have that happen. If we just understood what it is that we need to be putting in our body, what our body is designed to eat, and what it needs to be fueled. We are what we eat at the very cellular level, and we can rebuild or we can tear down. It's totally up to us. And our health is a choice. And I believe it's at the end of our fork.
Wow. I got chills when she was talking there.
I know. I think I'm going to start crying. Like, I seriously, that was so, I'm feeling very convicted right now because I'm thinking, oh my God, I feel like you're talking straight to me. You're like telling me, Brianna, stop eating so many French fries right now.
Well, French fries are a vegetable. So, it's just the oil that I'd have a problem with. That'll give you, lead you straight to a heart doctor.
Yeah.
So,
No, this is just incredible, and your tenacity, your grit, it's remarkable. It really is, and you're such a petite, beautiful woman too. I'm just like, I can't even imagine you just completely like broken up in a hospital. I mean, it's just wow. It's incredible. Thank you for sharing that.
Well, and you know what I think is so interesting when you say the tenacity and grit, because we, like I said, we talked off the camera, so I got to hear her story, and I shared a little bit about mine with her as well. And we talked about this whole thing about, the food being so instrumental in your health. But I think so much too is that you said so many great things, just that mindset to get better as well, because there are so many times people that is a crazy story, and that could have easily not turned out the way it did. I mean, and for many people, it may have never happened that way. But I think when you have that incredible determination to not let something take you out, to be the victim of that, you have the ability to turn that around. And I do, when you said the body is miraculous at healing itself, I believe that 100%. I think it is. If you want to be better, your mind, you can manifest that. You can help make that happen, So I think that's so huge. I mean, it's not just one piece. It's not just about the diet. It's all the pieces that come together to make you whole again. So incredible. It's an incredible story. I love it. So tell us a little bit, I guess, about this food truck. Tell us about how this, what you've got in there, and how do clients, like, do they go through your website to find you? How does all this work out for your people?
Yes. Well, I started the food truck for that reason. It's a reach and teach. I call it a little university on wheels that happens to serve delicious meals, because I want people to taste what the taste of change tastes like. People think when they eat the way I eat that it is, it's rabbit food, and it's definitely anything but that. And so the Garden of Eden is here in Utah, and it is the first plant-based truck, and it is so popular, and I love it because everything that we do is for sustainability, not only for ourselves, but for the planet. And also, if we changed as a species the way we eat, we honestly could feed the other 2/3 of the world that are starving. And then we could be kind to all sentient beings. And one of my biggest passions is that I have grandkids, and I want our planet to be here for them. I want a healthy planet, them healthy and our planet healthy. And so that food truck really honestly is a little university on wheels. And I am there, I'm outside that truck. And yes, I'm inside cooking, but then once my staff gets going, I go outside and really share with people, this is what this food, just like my guide, Jack. I am now a guide, and I want to help people be their own health gurus, their own health heroes, so that they can just walk through all kinds. And right now, during this season in our life, we all need to be building that immune system up. And that is how you do it. You feed it right, it'll treat you right, it'll protect you. When soldiers are going into battle, they feed them good meals to go in, and the other side that may not have as good meals, they're weaker. And so the ones that are honestly have more fuel good in their body are going to be the ones that come out victorious. So I all about teaching. And so it's not about serving food through a window. It's about teaching people what that food can do for them, and they can do for themselves every time they make a choice on what they're going to eat. How they can reach me is on Facebook, Garden of Eden, and also on Instagram, Garden O Vetan, Veaten. It's fashioned after where we started as a human race, in the Garden O Vetan, no, the Garden of Eden, but it's close enough. So everything was there for our human ancestors to live. All the plants, all the fruits, everything was there. And so that's what I fashioned it after. And I'm just passionate, as you can tell. I love being a knowledge broker, sharing what I've learned, what I continue to learn. And there's so much out there. I know it's so confusing, but I'm very, very passionate about really helping people understand how delicious this is. And it's exciting to watch what happens when people change, just like I did. Totally changed. And it's crazy because my neurologist is on board. He sees what I'm doing, feeds me articles of, here's more scientific examples and evidence of what you're doing is working, and they're finding these things out. So that's exciting too. For me, it just makes my heart happy.
That's awesome. I was going to ask you where you came up with the title of that, so thanks for answering that. Because we were kind of talking about that before we put the title up on the show. So that's awesome.
Yeah. You know, I have a quick question for you. So if for someone, and I'm just going to say someone like me, okay? And someone like me is an Italian who likes her sausage and rigatoni, and I'm not giving it up. And, you know, there's like a gazillion things I like to eat. But I do like to eat healthy, okay? So it's not that I completely eat terribly. I don't. However, it sounds very overwhelming for someone in my shoes to think about completely transforming their diet and how they're eating and what they put in their bodies, etc. So that being said, I also understand that, you know, there could be some minor things or just adjustments, like adjustments that I can make. What do you recommend for people like me who they want to keep eating their sausage or their steak or
that's good.
I mean, it's true because I'm not going to stop. I love it. I enjoy it. And I honestly don't think that there's anything wrong with meat, but that's a whole other conversation. I want to know where you would advise someone like me start or, you know, so that it's not so overwhelming because I'm into this. Like I'm totally open. I want to learn. I want to hear about it. I believe that, you know, food is fuel. So where would someone like me start?
Well, actually, I now teach online cooking classes. I did seminars, 3-day workshops where they'd fly in from all over the country to my home, and we would actually cook in my kitchen every single meal. I would talk to them about exactly what you're talking about, helping you learn how to transition and transition easily. And so when they do the online classes with me, they can sign up for 6 weeks or stay on for the full 12 weeks. The last week of our 12 weeks will be on this Saturday. And the results that we're seeing with people's health is incredible. But what I do ask them to do is fill out a sheet that tells me, just like what you said, Brianna, what do you like to eat? And so then I help design recipes around that. So I can make you think you're eating what you think you're eating, and you're really not eating it. So I can help you find the good part of it to help you stay healthy longer. And so a lot of times in the Italian, it's a lot of oils. And so you need to be just careful with those because it is, you know, quite damaging to the heart. And now they're also finding that a lot of oils also is involved with Alzheimer's. So anyway, I just learned to say, okay, if we can do the same dish and make it taste exactly like that or close enough to it, then that would be a great way to start. But the other way to start is maybe have a meatless Monday or, you know, just a 1 day a week where you're cutting way back on the oils, you're cutting way back on the meat, just to give your body the chance to digest things, work it through the system, but not have as much constantly in your system. So kind of maybe just cutting back a little, more greens, more salad, but they're delicious. Everything is so delicious. I've asked the students in this workshop, the 12-week one, how have you given up anything? Do you feel deprived? And I do have an Italian in that class, by the way. And she said, at first I was thinking I was going to be. She said, but I have not missed a darn thing. And she said, and besides that, I feel so incredible that I wouldn't go back. So I think it's just starting.
Yeah. Well, I love cool. that she's a hands-on too, that it's not just, you know, like, hey, let me have somebody else do this. She's very much, obviously we can tell that you're extremely passionate about that. And that's what's intriguing me is because I talk about passion all the time. You can sell anything if you've got passion, right? So that's what draws people into wanting to listen to what you have to say, because when you're excited about something, people want to know why you're excited, right? And so I think that that speaks a lot about who you are, but also your testimony, I think, is incredible. So, and I think that gives really credence to who you are. But I love that you're in it. You're in there and you're hands-on and you're teaching. Yeah. I think that that's important. It's an integrity thing.
And I also want to say that I did not eat healthy. I was a junk food junkie. My breakfast was Diet Coke, M&Ms, and red licorice Twizzlers. And then I ate lean cuisines all the time. Yeah. And I loved French fries. French fries were my favorite. And the favorite place here, they do them not only in oil, but in lard. So that's what made them so good. And so I wasn't a healthy eater. So there is hope.
That's awesome.
I
love it.
That's so
I love
great.
it. So very good. Okay. I want to ask you really quick a mindset question because I think this is important because you have had, I mean, you've had success in a previous company as a leader in a leadership role, and then come into this and creating this, and obviously have impeccable mindset because you wouldn't have been able to go through what you've gone through. So I always love to ask this question because I do a lot of mindset coaching, and this is my favorite thing to talk about. So when you are going after something, anything, whether it be a new business, when you were tackling this, anything, what does this headspace look like for you? What is this process?
Well, I also came from being super shy, super insecure. So when I conquered what I did and excelled in my other career, I had to just wrap my head around taking the chances and just doing what I feared the most, and knowing that you learn from your mistakes. And my favorite quote that I always quote, and from a stage, if I say it, 10,000 people will then finish it up. When I say build a bridge, they'll yell and get over it. And that's the thing. You have to just kind of build a bridge and get over whatever is going on in your head. And you have to be willing to risk to gain. And I also know that if I were to meet up with my young self, I would tell her that to just try it, to just go for it. Because you know what? A lot of times we think if we try something, and that's what our mindset is, that we're going to totally regret it because we're going to blow it. What's everybody going to think about us? It's going to be a failure. I'm going to be a bomb. I'll be looked down upon. And I can tell you that the only things I regret at 63 years of age is that I only regret the things that I didn't try, the chances that I missed because I talked myself out of it. And so I always try to talk myself into it. And I just find a way, make a way, and I go try it. And the more you try it, you're going to learn from those mistakes and move forward. But if you don't have the mindset that to just risk it and go and try, and then you're going to be stuck, and you will look back and say, gosh, I could have, should have, and would have, but I didn't, because I didn't dare. So I say, scare yourself and dare yourself and just go do it.
I love it.
I love it.
Scare yourself and dare yourself and just go do it. That's so good.
Yeah.
I think, and I share that with you too, because I used to be very shy. I don't think you were shy, but I used to be very, very shy. So I get that. And I feel like I'm still at times introverted. Like I like my alone time. And so, that's something I always talk about too, is that when you go after something, you almost have to just assume there's going to be some failure in that process, because I think once you take in that assumption that it's going to be there, you just know that it's okay. That's part of that process to get through to the next step. I think so often, like you said, so many people, like when they go into something, they go, oh, well, this is going to happen. This could happen. And they just stop because they see all that. Whereas maybe you, and I'm sure Brianna the same way, we look at it and we go, oh, well, that's just, we know that's going to happen. So our goal now is how do we get around that? We know that's going to happen.
Sure.
How do we get around it? Right.
Absolutely.
So, and I think, just doing things over and over and over, I think eventually the more you do stuff, the less afraid you become,
Exactly.
And
And I think you have to stop and think, and I always have, if somebody could do it, I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if somebody's done it, then you learn from them. There's so many greats in the world that have accomplished almost anything anybody would want to do. And even if they haven't yet, if you take that first step and just do something, you're going to get that confidence up. So when the next thing comes, you're going to be able to tackle that too. But if you don't start somewhere, big or small, and if you are not willing to fail, then you kind of put yourself in this little cage. And if you put a little baby tiger in a cage and it tries to grow, it can't grow. It can only grow so big because it's in that cage. But if you look at who we are, we built our own cage by saying we want to stay in our comfort zone, and that's that cage. And really, it's not comfortable at all. So we have to just kind of give ourselves that key, which is our mindset, and open the door, let yourself out to explore and just try it. And it's fun. And the other thing is to respect that process that you talked about. Respect it and work it, because it is a process. Success in any arena, I don't care what it is. I didn't know anything about building a food truck, you guys. I wasn't a chef. I ate lean cuisine, so I didn't know anything. But mentors showed up, and I did exactly what they said. And now I'm a master at that chefing thing. So, you just have to go and try it, because my daughter said, Mom, you've lost your mind. You're going to open a food truck. You have lost your mind. I know what you eat. And that's the truth. But I decided I was willing to do it because I was so passionate about what I wanted the outcome to be. So look at what you want your outcome to be. Look at who could be a mentor to you. and then look at other people that have done it and then go for it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, let's
Amazing.
do a few couple.
Yeah.
Let's do a couple fun questions real quick. That was awesome. I don't even know. We're just gonna go mic drop.
Yes.
That was good. We don't have to. We don't
Thank
even
you.
have to add to that. So,
Thank you.
you
It
have a
was
question
really-
a fun question
Well,
you want to ask?
I would love to know what is the most bizarre like vegetable you've ever
That's so good. I was thinking the
prepared
same
or
thing.
eaten or
Yes.
Well, I would say ones in China that I don't even know their names of, but they were so delicious. And again, there's a dare to scare and just try it, because my guide would just say, eat it. And he would tell me the name, but I didn't know what it was. I was over there with a girlfriend and she was like, you're not getting me to eat that. And I said, oh, you're going to eat it. So we did eat it and it was delicious. Every single thing that Jack had us try. And yet, and we would talk about it on the way home, how wonderful those was, but we didn't know what they were. So some of them were pretty scary looking, like had, I call them tentacles coming off of a fruit, and very weird. Oh, I can tell you the weirdest one too, and now I love it, is jackfruit. It's huge. It's got spikes all over it like a dinosaur does, and yet it is the most delicious food. I serve it on my food truck because it can be made to taste like anything, and it is so nutritious for you. But that was pretty weird because you have to cut it with a machete. You can't cut
Wow.
it with a knife.
We need to
Anything
look
you have
that
to cut
up.
with a machete, you ought to be scared of. But
Wow.
it was so good.
Yeah, we definitely need to look that up because I've not
For
heard
sure.
of that before. That's so awesome.
Jackfruit. I got it.
Jackfruit. I love it. I love it.
Terrific.
All right, Julianne, this is my fun question I want to ask you. If you could be any character or superhero for a day, because I love the food question you asked, but so I'm going to switch it up a little bit. Any character or superhero for a day, who would you pick?
Well, I would have to say that I would pick Glinda the Good Witch.
Glinda the Good
be-
Witch.
Yeah, because I love to be kind to everyone. I love to help people. My big thing with opening the food truck is to help other people. And in my former vocation, or still vocation now, that's my favorite thing, is to help people. I love them, to watch them succeed, change their families' lives, change them as who they are, let them believe in themselves. And so for me, yeah, that would it. Or I'd be Curious George, because I love to learn. I've got to know everything. So one of those two, they're kind of different. One's got a
Yeah.
cute, pretty dress and a wand, and the other one's got a tail. So
They're
okay,
both good.
I don't know.
Yeah.
They're both
You can
good.
go back and forth. It's
So
all
great.
good.
That's right.
It's all good. This was
Awesome.
fun. This
Thank
was
you
good.
so much. And
Yeah.
listen, I know you mentioned about your live or online coaching or cooking classes that you do. I know you mentioned Facebook, but can you tell us one more time where people can find you or even get in touch and learn more about getting in on these online cooking classes?
Yes, I'd love to. So Facebook is Garden O Vegan, and then also Instagram. But the best place to go would be to the website, and that is Garden O Vegan. So garden and then an O and then VEATEN.com. And it'll be right
Wonderful.
there on the homepage.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
That's great. And we have it showing, just so you know, on the video as well, so
Yeah,
people
I
can see
love
that
the
logo.
Yes,
and,
it's awesome.
and all of that. Well, we appreciate you being here today.
Absolutely. Julianne, thank you. You're an inspiration. And I know your story, a lot of it, and I thank you for sharing it on here with our audience. I think you're incredible, and you're inspiring a lot of people. So keep doing your thing, for sure. And with
Well,
that,
thank you for having me.
yes. And with that, we do want to say to our listeners, of course, if you enjoy our show, please be sure you give us a rating both on iTunes and Facebook. We can't do this without you. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube. And I think we are ready to wrap things up, are we not?
We are. We are
Awesome.
ready to wrap it up.
All right. And we're going to leave you guys with a couple final thoughts here. Hope begins in the dark. The stubborn hope that if you just show up and try to do the right thing, the dawn will come. You wait, watch, and work. You don't give up. And that's by Anne Lamott. And remember, in order to have success, you must start, and every start begins with a decision. All right, you guys take care, be safe, and be kind to one another. We will see you next time.